know she's just not normal. Something in the buttermilk ain't clean.
I feel like I'm serving you Sarah Zed realness with like my cup in my hands. But unlike Sarah, she actually has things like tea, you know, to help her voice when it gets raw from talking. But in my case, we have very, very cheap mascara. And I've already been sipping, so this video is being pulled in 100 different directions, but whatever happens, just know I got you. If you're anything like me, then over the past couple of years, while everyone has been talking about cryptocurrency this and Bitcoin that, you just smile and nod because it's something that I've never gotten into. It's something that I've never understood. And I didn't think that I had to understand it up until now, at least, because everybody is selling NFTs. Everywhere you look, every company, every celebrity, everybody is involving themselves in crypto. And the last time I checked, crypto was supposed to be bad. So I don't know what changed. I don't know what happened. But all of a sudden, I'm scrolling through twitter.com and everybody and their mom has an NFT that they want to sell. And I'm over here like, okay, what happened? Did I miss the plot? Like, what is all of this going on? The consensus that I see online is quite all over the place. If you're on Twitter, then every time someone says anything about an NFT, everybody's saying you are destroying the planet. And I'm sat with like, okay, like why? Why is this bad? Nobody can quite give me an answer. So I think it's just one of those things where everybody says that it's bad and then over time everybody starts thinking that it's bad, and that is where the consensus lies. But I actually wanted to see what's going on here because I genuinely don't know. And then you have other people in the other camp saying, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So the first place that I went to was YouTube. And most, if not all, of the videos are just how to make money selling NFTs, how to flip NFTs, how to do this, how to do that. And I'm like, whoa, wait. You are on level like 2000. You're offering me like level 2000 courses. And I'm over here. I haven't even done the prerequisites yet. So I don't even know what's going on. If you exist online in any capacity, then you probably know what an NFT is. Let me take that back. You probably don't know exactly what an NFT is, but you've heard people talking about it and you are confused, because I was confused too. A lot of the literature is very new, and so when I was reading up on it, trying to understand it, it all just sounded like gibberish, so I had to like dig deep in the archives and put my brain to use in order to synthesize a lot of this information. I didn't realize how rapidly it was growing until I had to sit down and research it, because every day from every major news publication there is an article coming out about an NFT doing this or an NFT doing that. According to CNBC, in terms of NFT trading, they made $10.6 billion in the third quarter of 2021 alone, in August making $5.2 billion. It's just like, at this point, you just can't, well, I couldn't ignore it, especially since it just kept popping up on my timeline so frequently. Probably one of the most important parts of this video today, what the fuck is an NFT? Well, it stands for non-fungible token. What does that mean? In economics, a fungible asset is something that can be exchanged for another thing and it still retains its value. So for example, if I have $10 and I ask somebody for 2 5s or 10 singles, in essence, I still have $10. They're still the same thing. The value in those currencies still have the same weight, whether or not I have 2 5s, a singular $10 note, or 10 single dollars. When it comes to an NFT, when something is non-fungible, even though you exchange it, they don't have the same value. So for example, since we're talking about art today, we're going to be discussing art. The Mona Lisa. Once you have the original Mona Lisa, it doesn't matter how many copies of that thing that you have, it will never hold the same value as the original Mona Lisa. If you have a Van Gogh painting, Starry Night, I can have so many other copies of Starry Night, but it will still never equate to the actual Starry Night painted by Van Gogh. It doesn't matter who's had my $10. Once upon a time, my $10 could have passed through Beyonce's hands. Money rotates like that. Beyonce could have had my $10. It doesn't matter if she had it or not. It's still $10. Whereas something that is non-fungible, like, you can't exchange it for something else. In its essence, an NFT is a digital certificate associated with certain rights of an asset that you have obtained. According to Macmillan, there are 3 components that an NFT must have. Number 1, a base that consists of cryptocurrency transformed into a non-currency token. Number 2, it must be a digital file. And then number 3, a series of smart contracts governing the rights associated with the NFT. If there are any people who are really into crypto, I think that whole digital file thing must have triggered them, because people are pushing for NFTs to be out of the digital space as well. So they're saying that soon in the future you can buy a house as an NFT. I don't know about all of that. When all of these 3 things are combined, what you have is a digital file that you are able to buy and sell where they sell NFTs, such as Nifty Gateway, OpenSea, and all of these marketplaces that makes it available for you to sell an NFT. You can put it on the Ethereum blockchain, and you can start your whole journey buying and selling NFTs if that's what you want to do. A lot of the time, the high price tag associated with traditional art pieces are due to their rarity, and they're usually one of a kind and unique. I am not a traditional artist, nor do I know too much about digital art, although it's something that I would like to get into at some point. People get their art stolen all of the time. People steal people's digital art, people take them and repost them, and at that point, like, you can ask somebody to take something down, but if they were willing to go to the lengths to steal your shit in the first place, there's a very low chance that they're going to be willing to take it down. So people get their works reposted and stolen all of the time. I imagine if it's a traditional piece, it's quite harder to steal, whereas in the digital space, it would be harder to tell. That's where the idea of NFTs come in, or theory. They don't work that way in application, as we'll get into, but the idea is tokenizing your piece of digital art, non-fungible token. The idea is tokenizing it and buying it and selling it on the Ethereum blockchain. So you have a ledger, the blockchain is a ledger. You have a ledger that's verifiable, that you can trace ownership back to. So I think the idea of it was to add some form of legitimacy to people's digital arts. We'll get into how it became problematic, but I think at the core and at the start of it, it probably meant to do good. I don't think that people anticipated the route that it would have taken. I can see how a digital artist who is fed up with their work being stolen all of the time, I can see how that would happen, although it doesn't necessarily stop people from taking a screenshot of your artwork. And we'll get into NFT copyright and NFT ownership a little bit later as well. It doesn't necessarily stop that, but I'm assuming if you are somebody who is into digital art, I mean, just like how it doesn't necessarily stop somebody from printing out a picture of the Mona Lisa or printing out a picture of a Van Gogh. So if you are somebody who is attuned to Now, on to what exactly is the blockchain. Now, as I said before, I am not an expert. I do not want to be an expert, nor do I claim to be an expert. But in order to progress or go forward how I want the video to go forward and the things that we're going to discuss, we need to have at least some kind of basic understanding as to what the blockchain is. So to anybody who is super invested in crypto, please, it's not that I don't care, but in order for me to sit down here and talk about hashes and nodes and mining and all of the different computer software, that is just time that we all just don't have. So we're just going to stick to the basics, so that everybody has at least a basic understanding of what we're going to be talking about, at least at like the things that pertain to the video. A blockchain is a decentralized public ledger that contains blocks that record transactions. Why do we need this? So, for example, when we think about the ways that we spend money today, I, for one, use a card. I hardly, if ever, walk around with like physical money on me. And if you think about that, that just reinforces the fact that everything that we do today is digitized. So our money is essentially numbers on a screen. Most of us don't walk around with hard cash anymore. So what the blockchain aims to do is cut out the middleman. So if I want to buy, what do I buy? Why is this the most difficult part of explaining this? I went to the store and I bought Moscato. I go to the store, I swipe my card, and then a bunch of things happen in that like 30 seconds that it takes in order for the transaction to go through. But most importantly, it needs to go through my bank, and then my bank makes sure, okay, she has enough money to buy this, and then that's how it goes through. The point of the blockchain and the point of having it be a public ledger that anybody can access, in essence, if you have the software, is that you want to cut out the middleman, such as like banks and other institutions, in that way. And it's called cryptocurrency, or the need for cryptocurrencies, because everything is becoming so digitized. So there isn't necessarily like a need for physical money anymore. The goal is to kind of make all of these transactions publicly recorded on the internet. But the thing is, the entire system gets value from public consensus. That's how it's all evaluated. So it's very strange. So you'll see, I saw this one tweet where they asked Elon Musk, are you investing in this and this coin and this cryptocurrency? And he's like, no. And the entire like the market just fell for that coin. And that's one thing that I don't quite understand yet, because I'll see a bunch of like crypto coins pop up every day, and the main thing on my mind is like, how is this getting approved? Are there steps that people need to go through in order to create these currencies? Or is it just like, if you have the software, it works? And is it just, as I said before, it's based on public consensus? So if enough people believe in this coin and people invest into it, then the value goes up? Is that how this works, the process of creating crypto coins? I don't know, and like I wasn't able to find anything to accurately answer my question. For the purpose of this video, we're going to be focusing on the Ethereum blockchain, because that's where most NFTs are bought and sold, the currency being Ether. And I don't think I mentioned this, but you just need to like take like fiat, which is traditional money. So if it's like US dollars, Canadian dollars, and you need to invest that and then turn it into Ether or Bitcoin in order to participate and buy NFTs. So that's how it works. But I was confused as to what the differences were between Ether and Bitcoin, or Ethereum and Bitcoin, because you can't buy NFTs using Bitcoin. You can only buy them with Ethereum as of now, for the most part. There's like another blockchain called Flow, which we're gonna discuss briefly, but for now the main source is Ethereum. The main blockchain is Ethereum, through which you can buy NFTs. And the main difference is just in the setup of the crypto coin, or the currency of itself. So for example, if I wanted to buy a house using Bitcoin, I would still need to go through a third party, or whoever is selling the house, and draw up a deed and do all this kinds of stuff. When it comes to Bitcoin, it functions in the same way that traditional money does. But when it comes to Ethereum, if I wanted to buy a house, it's kind of the deed already. Like if I wanted to buy a house using Ethereum and have it's the deed. The NFT in that way would be the deed to the house. So you don't have to go through a third party when you use Ethereum. And that's how it's different from Bitcoin, and why it enables people to buy NFTs. And the second part of it is that you can also have smart contracts integrated into the purchase. So when it comes to people buying and selling NFTs, if I'm an artist and I want to sell an NFT, I can have it written in the code somewhere that every time my artwork, every time this NFT trades hands, so even if you have people who are trying to flip NFTs, every time this particular project shifts hands, that was like a tongue twister. I think the alcohol is getting to me. But every time this project shifts hands, I will be able to get a percentage even though I'm not the one selling it at this particular time. Before we get into like the backstory and how any of this happened, I thought it would be cool to talk about some of the most notable NFT artists and sales. And the first person that I want to discuss is Jasmine Bobbykins. Jasmine goes under the name of Black Sneakers, and she is an NFT artist and her work centers Black people and painting Black people and how she views the daily life of Black people, and her shit is so cool. But she has the same story that a lot of digital artists have, whereas she was posting all of her shit on Twitter, people were liking and commenting, but nobody was actively buying any of her things. And when she started posting her work as NFTs, she was able to make $60,000 in 6 months. Now that I can understand. Jasmine is one of the people. I get it. I understand that. Where it gets weird is when you have all of these corporations involved and things just start to get dicey. So just a few notable purchases. Jack Dorsey's first tweet on Twitter sold for $2.9 million. You have the Neon Cat meme, sold in February for $600,000. You have the Disaster Girl meme, sold for $401,718. The Overly Attached Girlfriend meme for $417,299.40. The 40 cents, just there for the 40 cents. Charlie Bit Me, that iconic Charlie Bit Me, sold for $761,000. And the last bit that I didn't even, but before we even get into the last bit, we've used these people's faces for years. We have used their likeness, just spreading them online as reaction pictures, as memes. If somebody wants to pay somebody like hundreds of thousands of dollars in order to own these, like the Disaster Girl meme, the Attached Girlfriend meme, like I would say that these pieces or these memes tell a story about a period in time. So if anybody wants to buy them, and we've been using these people's faces, if anybody wants to buy them or claim ownership over them, okay, cool. The weird thing, I don't necessarily have an issue with that. The weird shit comes after, as I said before, with all of the companies and their involvement in it. But the most notable purchase, the most lucrative purchase of an NFT goes to the artist Mike Winkelmann. His artist name is Beeple, and it goes to his piece Every Day is the First 5,000 Days, which, according to The Verge, is a collage of Winkelmann's work starting at the beginning of the project when he was posting somewhat crude sketches. It runs through years of evolving digital shapes and sceneries through the beginning of this year when he was posting extremely crude political illustrations. So now what this is a collage of 5,000 pictures that this guy, I think they said he started doing it in 2014, and before this he was somewhat of an unknown artist. Like, he wasn't even known like that. And before I tell you how much it was sold for, the people who purchased it received a JPEG of 5,000 photos. And I don't mean to laugh, but it sold for $69.3 million. And they got a JPEG along with some, some very unclear rules of display as to how they could display their $70 million art piece that exists in JPEG form. And this is my question. So, like, since it exists as a JPEG, if you print it out, does it lose all of its value? That is my question with this whole NFT thing. So, as soon as it exists in the digital world, in like the physical world, does it lose all of its value? Because I would assume that's the same thing with traditional art, because an image of Starry Night or Van Gogh's bedroom, and an image of that does not equate to the physical piece. So you can only, if you own the JPEG, like, is it only worth something if you're scrolling through and looking at it on your phone? And in defense of that, a lot of digital artists will tell you that they're not only paying for pixels, they're not only paying for JPEGs, but they're also paying for the artist's time and the time that it took to create something like this. And also in support of an emerging art form, which is traditionally looked down upon by a lot of traditional artists who think that it doesn't take as much skill or as much talent to produce something on the internet. Now, let's talk about Cats. And not the musical, although that was a travesty in its own right. I don't know if you can hear the police sirens behind me, but they agree as well, so there it is. Now, as we established before, NFTs became possible when the Ethereum blockchain added support for them in the system. And one of the first known uses for NFTs, or the way that we use them today, is a game called CryptoKitties. CryptoKitties is a blockchain game on Ethereum developed by a Canadian company called Dapper Labs, where you can buy, sell, and breed virtual kittens. The game was so popular that it congested the Ethereum network until they had to like switch to something else. And around like it came out in like December of 2017, and they made $32 million buying and selling virtual kittens. And now this is where I start to lose a bit of sleep over this situation, and this is where I fear that we have lost the plot. Although this is one of the first known uses of NFTs, so maybe this was the plot all along, and somewhere along the way people like Black Sneakers were able to like slip through the cracks and sell their art and sell their projects as NFTs, and were able to look up because of that, because something in the buttermilk ain't all the way clean. Now, these cats are supposed to be NFTs because they are unique and one of a kind, and they breed with each other, and then their offspring then become NFTs as well. And that is how the cycle continues. And I get that, and far be it from me to shame people because of their interests and what they like collecting. But when somebody pays $172,000 for a cat, it just sends alarm bells whistling across my brain, because something is just not right. And the further that I looked into it, I realized, oh, okay, this might be a scheme. I feel like this started out as a scam, and somewhere along the line, due to its efficiency and due to the hype that it just gained all of these different companies investing into it, and all of these companies wanting to be a part of the NFT craze, and then it gained legitimacy through that. Because as I said before, all of this cryptocurrency, all of this is just based on people's perception. It's based on groupthink. That's how they make money. That's how value is like driven through the roof. And I genuinely feel like it's unprecedented because no one ever thought that it would get to this point. According to an article published in Frontiers in Physics entitled CryptoKitties, Transaction Network Analysis, the Rise and Fall of the First Blockchain Game Mania, it essentially states how it was a quick rise and a quick fall of CryptoKitties, but at the end of the day, it kind of signaled to people, it kind of signaled to the creators, we're going to get into them, it signaled to them that people were willing to pay a lot of money for things that they deemed rare and unique and one of a kind, even though it existed in a digital format. Now, according to the article, one of the many reasons why the website just wasn't profitable anymore is this: it just stopped being fun because a lot of people couldn't afford it. And I mean, these cats were going for hundreds of thousands of dollars. The average person cannot afford to pay that much money to play a blockchain game online. And the funny thing is, like, I'm talking, and the paper states that, like, the website is dead and it's not doing as well anymore, but it's rising in popularity just due to the NFT craze that's going on right now. And now this is where I put on my conspiracy theorist tinfoil hat on, because none of this is making any sense to me. So the first group of kittens that were released on the website, known as Gen Zero, they weren't NFTs. Those kittens were licensed by another company named Axiom Zen through a nifty license that gave them limited rights, or gave people limited rights to use the kittens. Okay, cool. In 2018, after all of the kitten craze has died down and people aren't paying that much attention to it anymore, the company rebrands to Dapper Labs. So now CryptoKitties is under Dapper Labs. If you've been paying any attention to any of this crypto thing, Dapper Labs is responsible for the NBA Top Shops. That's my phone. The NBA Top Shots that has the sports industry by their necks, and everybody is just going crazy over these NBA collectibles right now. So that is the same company, the CryptoKitties, and that is the same company. Now, where the plot thickens is that Axiom Zen, as I said before, that licensed the images of the original kittens to CryptoKitties, they all have the same CEO. That's weird. That's suspicious. And I'm not saying that foul play was involved, but once again, I'm just saying that, like, everything in the buttermilk does not look clean. Because, like, you're not gonna have... First of all, why wouldn't you just list the original cats as NFTs? If you're so involved in this, why license them? Why not just list them as NFTs, as another company did that we're going to talk to them? If you believe in this technology so much, why not do that? The next company that kind of spearheaded all of the crypto conversations is a company known as CryptoPunks. Now, they differ a bit from CryptoKitties because there's only 10,000 in existence. There's only ever going to be 10,000 in existence. And instead of them being like licensed pictures like CryptoKitties were, they were computer generated, and anybody in the beginning, anybody could claim them. All you needed to do is have an Ethereum wallet, and you had to pay gas fees, which is ironically the fees associated with Ethereum. Okay, so just for funsies, this is the CryptoPunks website, and then these are the CryptoPunks that people are paying millions of dollars for. And if you scroll all the way down, it'll give you all of the stats. So, current lowest priced punk available. So this is the lowest priced. If you are interested in getting a CryptoPunk, this is the lowest price that you can pay for it, and it's like 421,000 USD. Number of sales, like, it's all just very weird. And then they'll give you the largest sales. So this is the most expensive one that went for $7.58 million in March. And then we get to the recent transactions, which was updated 46 seconds ago for over $600,000. Now that's weird, but the weirdest part to me is that they have a public leaderboard. And this is where it blows my mind. So they have a leaderboard with everyone who owns a CryptoPunk, and then if you click on, so this is account number 1, 410 CryptoPunks earned. Let's click this account. Now, we have their account number, how much they own, their bids, then you have the value. Now, this is the weirdest part to me, or the most interesting part, because the total amount spent buying all of this is $7,000, and the amount earned selling them is 10.27 million. Do with that what you will. And I guess these are all of the punks that they own. Well, a fraction of them, because they have like 410. It's all just, yeah, something ain't right. So CryptoPunks is owned by a company called Larva Labs, and in April of this year, 2021, another company named Yuga Labs kind of bit off of their style because they have come up with this company called Bored Apes Yacht Club, which, surprise, surprise, has 10,000 NFTs up for grabs, just like CryptoPunks had. And this is where I start to ask even more and more questions, because now it's like y'all not even trying to hide it. Because I can understand individual artists wanting to sell NFTs. I can understand people wanting to sell their memes as NFTs. I can even understand barely somebody wanting to pay $70 million for an artist's like JPEGs. I can get that. I get that. What I don't understand is how this company that essentially bit off of CryptoPunks in 2021, mind you, this company started in April of 2021. I struggle to understand how this company could have made by October, because I'm filming this Halloween is October 31st. I struggle to understand how this company could have made 500. See, this is the alcohol kicking in. I struggle to understand how this company could have made $542 million between 8,749 traders and 21,481 sales. How does that work? Who is buying this? Because as I said before, the average person isn't buying this. You made $542 million in sales. Over like 21,000 transactions. Is that what you're trying to tell me? And over 8,000 like sellers. Is that what you're trying to tell me? You're trying to tell me that that makes sense. You're trying to tell me that that is legitimate. Okay, but then I started thinking. I said, who is buying this? And I have an answer. So according to Time magazine, they're called whales, and they're these people who think that crypto is going to save us from the depths of the universe. Therefore, they kind of have nothing to lose when they invest all of their money into this, and like, they're rich. They're not people like you and me. Well, not calling y'all poor, but like, let me you know what, let me just speak for myself. They're not people like me. They're rich, they have money, and they have skin in the game when it comes to crypto. So this website called Nifty Gateway was created in 2018, and it's where most people go to like list all of their like crypto art or whatever, or their NFTs. And it's where most of the transactions take place. I think it was earlier this year, these two brothers, the Winklevosses, Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss, they bought that site, and they buy and sell crypto on their own website. So this artist named Beeple before, they like his work, the same guy whose artwork sold for $69 million. They like his work, and so they buy his work off of their own website, which they still get a 10 to 15%, because when you list things on the website, like, that's normal. When you list things on a website, they take a percentage, but it's their website, so they buy and sell on their own website. And it's just weird to me. It's like a drug dealer using their own drugs. Like, what? It's crazy how interconnected it is, because I'm not even gonna get into the metaverse on this video, but the same people who are investing so much money into NFTs are the same people who are investing into the metaverse. And for example, when Facebook announced that they're renaming to Meta, all of the metaverse platforms went crazy. This one metaverse platform, its valuation went up from 1.14 billion to 2.08 billion dollars within the 24 hours that Facebook announced that it was going to be focusing on the metaverse. All of this is just confusing, and I feel like I'm offering more like I feel like I'm offering more questions than I am solutions, but at this point, like, I researched and read all of this, but I'm only left with more and more questions. Some of my questions were answered, but at the end of the day, it's all still very strange. Now we have to get to the point whether I decide if I'm going to care about this or not, and I feel like I have to care because deep down I genuinely think that while some of it is rooted in actual artists wanting to sell their work, a lot of this is a scam. A lot of this started out as a scam, and that's just notable in the way that the whole cryptokitties thing started, because that baffles my mind. Just make your thing an NFT if you think that NFTs are so great. Do it how the cyberpunks, how the cryptopunks people did it, right? Why do I think this is a scam? When it comes to NFTs, when you put it up on the marketplace, you can have a set price or you can have people bid on it for a certain amount of money. And most people, most if not all people, arrange it in a bidding fashion. So it just the NFT goes to the highest bidder. Me and my tinfoil hat is on. I genuinely think people are putting up pieces and then having their friends or people close to them bid on these over and over and over again, so it just drives up the price. And when it drives up the price, it gives the indication to other people that, hey, people want this thing is valuable. And then you have people buying, and I'm just gonna say it, people buying shitty pieces of digital art that I could do, and I don't make art. People buying these things because it has this perceived value from the group. Once again, crypto is based on groupthink. So it has this perceived value from the group, and people are making bank and people are taking advantage of people with this. I'm so sorry. And this also ties into my theory about this whole NBA jump shot thing, because as I said before, just based on the medium that crypto is, you can put into these contracts, okay, every time somebody buys it, every time somebody sells it, the original company is going to get a percentage off of this. The NBA is making so much money. So even, and this does not come with buying actual trading cards, because if you buy a trading card, you buy it and then you sell it, the company does not get a percentage off of that because there's no way for them to make money off of it. When it comes to the digital Top Shot thing that they're doing, and I don't know if this is true, but if I were a company and if I wanted to make money, this is what I would do. Every time somebody buys or sells and like anything NBA Top Shot, they are making a percentage off of that, just driving it up further. I think of all of these companies that are coming out with NFTs and that people are buying. And the thing is, I think I may not know a lot about NFTs, but I do know a lot about the wealth gap. And when you look at it, the average person is not spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a JPEG. That's not happening. They are making money, but the wealth is just very, very concentrated, and there is a specific subset of people who are actively engaging in buying these products. It might be a money laundering scheme. I don't know. Before I say something and people try to attack me, it might be like money laundering, it might be that, but something is just not right. The second reason why this is kind of like weird to me is that y'all don't really own anything for real, which is kind of the same in traditional art forms, but the entire premise of NFTs is based on rarity. And if you don't own the copyright of a work, if somebody else owns the copyright, that gives them free reign to make other art pieces that are quite similar or exactly the same to the one that you purchased for millions of dollars based on rarity. The NFT purchaser owns nothing more than a unique hash on the blockchain with a transactional record and a hyperlink to the file of the artwork. NFTs are just tokens that represent an asset, completely separate from the assets themselves. So you own the token, but you don't necessarily own the actual work. And this is all just confusing for everyone involved because this space is so new that a lot of people aren't too aware of the laws that will be associated with it. So in order to mint an NFT or like sell an NFT, you need to be the copyright holder with enough rights to the project or enough rights to the artwork that would warrant you being able to sell it or being able to mint it in order to like avoid a lot of like copyright infringement. So upon my research of this whole thing, I discovered a case that I didn't even know. So apparently Jay-Z is selling Dame Dash. It's not selling, suing. This is the alcohol. Jay-Z is suing Dame Dash for wanting to sell an NFT minted version of one of Jay-Z's albums, and he's claiming that being like a minority shareholder of the record company, that Dame Dash does not have the rights to mint his work or sell his work as an NFT, which is crazy to me. This case is still ongoing, so we don't know how it's going to end, but it's things like that. Like, nobody knows what they're doing. My next point related to my previous point is that y'all steal. That is like, that's why I don't think this will ever work out the way that people want them to, or not in accordance with large companies selling NFTs, because once you list an NFT, they don't care if you were the one that created it or not. So I feel like this is even a bigger problem for artists on Twitter sharing their work. Like, if you don't actively find out that somebody has minted your work, I don't think there's much that you can do about it in terms of the blockchain and in terms of Ethereum, because there isn't anything set up to circumvent that. So I don't know if you remember, but towards the beginning of the year, there was this account going on Twitter called Tokenized Tweets. And the only reason I know about this is because they were attempting to tokenize some of BTS's tweets. They got banned from Twitter, but they were just like taking tweets from Twitter and claiming them in order to sell them. And my fear is that y'all already love to steal from people of color and black people. So like, my brain just goes to the worst possible outcome, because I can see a black artist getting their work stolen and sold as an NFT, and there's nothing that they can do about it. And it's just worse. It makes it worse for digital artists in this sense, especially people who don't have the funds or who wouldn't have the income to go and fight somebody in court for laws that they don't even have set up yet. Now, apart from the money laundering, the scamming, the stealing, now we get into one of the more important aspects, or the thing that deters a lot of people from engaging in like NFTs and the whole conversation: the environment. Creating NFTs require a lot of computing power, a lot of which run on server farms, a lot of which are powered by fossil fuels. So the guy from before, Beeple, what's his face? Mike Winkelmann, the guy whose art sold for $69 million, he claims that his art is now going to be carbon neutral, because after selling and creating his NFTs, he plans to invest in technology that can suck carbon dioxide out of the air. It just doesn't work right. I don't know how that's gonna work. Ask Mike Winkelmann. That'll be him. But one of the reasons why, so the space cat meme that we were discussing before, the one that sold for $600,000, it is estimated that its creation and selling is equivalent to 2 months of electricity in an EU household. That's just crazy. That's crazy to me. And the thing that's even crazier is that this entire system was built this way and purposefully designed to be as inefficient as possible. So currently, the Ethereum blockchain operates on a proof of work method in order to legitimize things. So what that means is that since there is no middleman operating any of this to verify that what people are saying is correct in the ledger, proof of work is a series of puzzles that must be completed by your computer that is intentionally energy inefficient, so that it prevents people from lying when putting information in the ledger. That is why it is the way that it is. That's the way that it eats energy. That is why the Ethereum blockchain allegedly like takes up as much energy as Switzerland. But then again, the information or the article that I got this information from was written in March, and I can only imagine the amount that it's soared to. The intent was to make it so that people would have less reason to lie in the ledger, because then if you're solving all of these puzzles, then it's probably costing a lot of money, so that it makes less sense for you to lie. But they're just fucking everything up in the process, because even though NFTs, well, previously NFTs weren't the largest portion of the Ethereum blockchain, it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger due to the interest of NFTs and people surging up the price of Ethereum. So it's just making it worse and worse for everybody. One of the solutions to this would be switching over to a proof of stake system. So instead of solving all of these puzzles, you would just put up some of your tokens as collateral, and then if you lie or if something doesn't work out, you lose those tokens. So that's one thing. But the thing is, and I think have like blockchain, I don't know if any of them have adopted this method, but this method has been in the works for a very long time. And the issue with this is that everybody has to agree to switch over to this method of doing things, because as I said before, crypto is based on public consensus. It's like the mind of the group. So if everybody does not agree to switch over to a proof of stake method instead of a proof of work method, which is the energy consumption one, because if you switch over to the proof of stake method, like the energy consumption of the blockchain can go to zero overnight if that's what they decide to do. But we all know it is harder to agree. It is harder to get people to agree on one thing. And what could happen if they switch over is that there's just going to be a bunch of new blockchains using electricity. There's also the idea of just having NFTs and having all of the blockchains run on renewable energy, but that's not feasible either, because based on the energy that it would take up, it would just be overloading a lot of the energy grids, and that energy could go to like lighting homes and creating electricity for homes. So yeah, it's just a mess. And what are my final thoughts on this? I genuinely, if you look, okay, here's the thing. So for example, right, the NBA Top Shot thing is run on a proof of stake method. So it doesn't consume as much electricity. It's run on Flow, created by Dapper Labs. So it doesn't consume energy because people have to put up their tokens in order to create a block on the blockchain, and that's how it works. But even with that, I still think it's weird. I think there's something nefarious going on here. Maybe this is how they felt when people were introducing the internet for the first time and people were not having it. But I don't know, I always feel like there's this weird underlying motive when we have all of these companies come in and start to profit off of something. Because I can understand people wanting to sell their individual art pieces, digital artists, I can understand that, I get it. But at the same time, the fact that all of these companies are coming in, all of these people want a piece of the pie, the whole crypto art thing, the whole cryptopunks thing, how people are bidding and spending their money, I think it's a money laundering scheme. Apart from the people who are actually there to sell their art pieces, I just think that it's a way to offer product without actually offering product, because I think it takes less money on the end of these companies. It's less money to provide a JPEG than it is to actually produce a physical product for people to buy. Because at the end of the day, it's a JPEG. And I hate calling it JPEGs. I don't want to invalidate anybody's artistic expression, but like that's not what I'm trying to do. But in terms of all of these like CryptoPunks, CryptoKitties, y'all are just selling JPEGs to people because they want something unique. But at the same time, if you have $200,000 to spend on a digital kitten, who am I to tell you? Like, who am I to tell you how to spend your money? And as soon as they implement this whole new proof of stake model, I'm gonna try to sell. If the girls are buying NFTs for $500,000 just because they think that it's unique and it's one of a kind, no wonder everybody has an NFT. Everybody wants to sell an NFT. Now the metaverse, that is a whole different can of worms that I am just not equipped to go into at the moment. But yeah, I don't know. I hope you took something away from this video. I had to stop drinking midway because I don't know if you can tell, I'm tipsy. So there's that, and it's now 5:31 a.m. and it's a whole mess. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. I am back. I actually tried filming, because this is the first video that I'll post in like 3 weeks. I filmed like 3 videos, and I don't know if it was the retrograde. I don't know what was going on, but nothing that I said like sounded right, and it didn't come out the way that I wanted to come out, so I just didn't post any of them. But it's not for lack of trying. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this, and I will see you in the next one.